The thing that's attracted me about The Voice is it's very personal. I have I grew up in a home that wasn't religious. My parents were people that I believe were Christians. We didn't go to church, we didn't have Bibles. But we were raised in an environment, my two sisters and I, where nothing was discouraging was ever said about the church or about God. And so it was really a very fine environment. It was completely neutral. There's nothing negative. And when I first heard about God, I was over in Berlin as a high school student, and it was the week after President Kennedy was assassinated. And I heard for the first time that Jesus Christ was the Son of God, and you think someone 16 years old, you would have heard that before in your life, but I'd never heard that. Maybe I'd heard it, but it never penetrated my head. And they took us to this chapel on Sunday. This is a Sunday after Kennedy's assassination. No, it's actually the following Sunday. And I'm sitting in this chapel, and there's a woman sitting next to me who was German, couldn't speak any English, and there's an American sitting on the other side of me that couldn't speak any German, and they were worshiping God. And it was like, whoa, what's going on here? This was completely foreign to me, and I prayed my first prayer, and I said, God, I don't understand this. I don't understand what it means to have Christ within you. I don't understand how these people can be together. And I said, I want to understand this. And so for the next 6 months, God just sort of revealed himself to me. And we were down in Switzerland 6 months later, and I was skiing. And that night, this guy who was speaking at this camp, it was a Young Life camp in Switzerland, said, is there anyone here who would like to stand up and tell us that tell us, first of all, if you're ready to accept Christ and we want to say anything. The room was silent. There were 90 of us sitting there, and they were all military kids, and I don't know that more than a couple were Christians, if that many. And this kid sitting next to me he was the unlimited weight class wrestling champion for Europe. And he leans over next to me, because we're both lettermen wearing our letter jackets, and he said, you'd have to be stupid to do that. So I stood up. And things just changed in my life. I have never been real comfortable with religion and a lot of things about church, but I do know God, and my faith is very real to me. And the next day, my sister had given me this little Phillips New Testament, because she was a Christian. I didn't know anything about it. And she gave this to me, and I was reading it on the train, and I just started to fall in love with God through this whole thing. And I didn't know any Christians at the time, or just very few, and my sister actually lived 7 hours away from where I lived. And so I just read this New Testament over and over and over again. And my whole life was filled with possibilities. It was much, much different. And I desire that for people. I have worked with Young Life and Campus Crusade in ministry settings. I was a youth minister, was involved in a fellowship in Berkeley, California, and in each of those things, I wanted people to have that experience, to have that knowledge, have that closeness to God. And so my whole life has been about that. And I've been in a number of Bible projects. I've edited 14 study Bibles in my life, and I've worked on the launch of 4 different translations. This is my 4th now. This first one I worked on all the way through. But what gets me up in the morning and drives me through the day, and lately it's been staying at home, working all around the clock, 7 days a week to finish this translation, is that experience of finding God and knowing him very, very personally. And so that's what this translation is all about. It's because there's a whole generation now that has rejected the church and feels like Christians just don't have anything to say to this world. And it's not about the Christians, it's not about the church, it's about God reaching down and caring about us. And we hear from God in his scriptures. This translation does for this generation what the Phillips New Testament did for me. And we want people to step out of the world they're in and step into the world of God and connect with him and know him and hear from him, that's what we're doing here. And every day, that's what I want to do, is touch people with this and let them have that experience.